In an initiative to conduct non-exclusive elections, 192 patients from the Institute of Mental Health are enrolled in the voters list. After assessment of 900 odd patients, the doctors were surprised that many of them were aware of the political party names and symbols. Now, let us ask psychiatrist Dr. Suresh Kumar to give insights about the first of its kind initiative in India.
So when it comes to voting process, the real question is, does the person know what he is doing? Which translates into, does he know that he is voting? Does he understand the process involved in voting? Does he know who is he voting for and what he is voting for? If you really take that into consideration, I would say that a lot of people who are supposed to be suffering from mental disorder or a psychiatric disorder indeed have a sound mind, because they have an intact cognitive ability which makes them to understand the voting process, comprehend the voting process and make a decision based on who should be they voting for, like other so-called normal people are entitled to. Of a number of people who suffer from the so-called mental disorder, a very small proportion of people might have an impaired knowing ability, which means very severely intellectually disabled people or severely ill demented people or some of the very small proportion of psychiatrically ill who have gone through an illness for a long duration of illness, who have gone away from reality. These are the only small proportion of people who probably have a disturbed cognitive ability. The rest of them would indeed have an intact cognitive ability. So to say every single resident of a psychiatric institute or a psychiatric hospital is suffering from unsoundness of mind is very wrong. These questions are all become very redundant, because if somebody has a intact cognitive ability, it necessarily means they will be able to take the task on their own, which means many of them would not require an assistant to go to a voting booth and exercise their right, and certainly they can enjoy the same secrecy that a so-called normal person enjoys. And there is no way you can manipulate a person just because he had a psychiatric disorder. The vulnerability, the susceptibility of somebody manipulating him is almost equal to that of anybody being manipulated as a normal individual. Even as a normal individual, somebody can actually influence me by a variety of factors. I think the same whole will be true for people with the so-called psychiatric disorder. Actually, the medical people have a very small role to play, excepting I feel our role is more to advocate for the rights of psychiatrically ill population. The law is very clear. The law says everybody has an eligibility to vote if he has a sound mind. All we need to say is quite a lot of people suffering from psychiatric disorders have a sound mind because they have an intact knowing ability, intact cognitive ability. They could have variety of problems in emotions, conduct and behavior or perception. That would not exclude them from having a ability to vote, because we are really talking about a knowing ability only of a particular process. So I think in other countries I do not know the laws of it, but since in this country Indian constitution says that a person with a sound mind can vote, I think we should be fighting for a lot of people who have a sound mind inside the hospital should be allowed to vote.
The voters from IMH have access to news in television and newspapers, and will also be demonstrated on how to use electronic voting machines. With this, Priyadarshini for Just Out News.